My name is the Alpha Female, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Whoa! G'day, mateys. Bushwhacker Luke here, 2015 Hall of Famer, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Yeah! Whoa!
This is pro wrestling's only modern-day Viking Gunner, and you're on Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Nick Magnus Solis, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hi, this is Leva Blue Pants Bates, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Jeff Jarrett, the King of the Mount and founder of Global Force Wrestling, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Hey, fellas, you guys have a great day, and this is only because I'm talking to Canadians. It is actually spitting snow in Tennessee.
See? Oh my God!
That's a great. We've had 70-degree weather here. We've really had a warm December, and I get on the phone with damn Canadians, and we're spitting snow. So.
My name is Karl Karufel, joined alongside Chris Best, and soon, hopefully, OMD, who said that he would like to join us tonight. And this is Turnbuckle Talk, episode number 337, You Just Got Punked. We have got such a good show for you guys today, and as always, we like to kind of bring you a little bit of the news that maybe other people aren't necessarily talking about. But before that, Chris, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. Still riding a high off of that fantastic main event from Raw last night. Just bell to bell. Excellent wrestling, you know?
Oh, 100% it definitely was. Joe, thank you so much for coming in, saying good evening, gentlemen. I hope you were doing well. Today has been just a very hectic day for me, but I made it here just with enough time to get things done. But we're here, and yeah, let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw last night before we get into the bulk of our topics for today. Let's talk about that main event. Gunther versus Chad Gable for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. I personally am happy to see the Intercontinental Championship or the IC Championship getting more of a focus on television, which harkens back to years ago. Chris, I know you loved this matchup just as much as I did. How are you feeling about the IC Championship being in the main event of Raw?
Okay, so the IC title is probably my most favorite championship in the WWE, other than the WWE title, obviously.
Right.
But I love that it's getting the focus it's so desperately needed over the last, I would say, 10 years, maybe longer, really.
Yeah, I think it definitely has been about that long. Yeah.
It always annoys me when we're at a pay-per-view or PLE or one of the major PLEs like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and the Intercontinental title is not on the line, or at least being represented in some way. So to see it headlining Raw the way it did, please give me more of that, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100% we need more of that. And congratulations to Gunther, who, now officially is going to be known as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Not just a modern era, but of all freaking time. Beating out the Honky Tonk Man's record. Dude, that is an accomplishment.
A record I did not think would ever get broken.
Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that it would have.
Now, the only long-standing record is Bruno's World Heavyweight title reign, which that'll probably never get broken, actually.
No, probably not. Not at all. Ed, yes, he says, hey, Karl and Chris, have a great time talking about CM suck, LOL. Just found out Becky is headed to NXT next week. So back to the note taking. Have a great show. Yeah. We'll watch tomorrow on VOD as he usually does. And if you guys want to hear some NXT talk, make sure that you stick around to our local establishments, YouTube, Twitch page, all the different socials, because Ed and the wonderful Astrid do Taking Over on Tuesdays at about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. You're not going to want to miss out on that. They are so fun, and it is always amazing, and you never know when we might get Ed Fries with a Ed rant.
And I want to go back to the Intercontinental title because there is a story that broke this afternoon that Chad Gable said he wants one more match with Gunther.
Good. I am looking forward to that. 100.
Oh, me too.
I am. It is 100% something that I want.
I'd put it at the PLE at Fastlane. That's where I'd put it.
I wouldn't. Survivor Series. Make that a top card for Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah, you could do it there too. You could stack that show, you know?
Right? Why not stack the show? you have the opportunity to, it would be a fantastic idea for you to stack that show and have the Intercontinental Championship on the line at one of your big 4 PLEs. That would be amazing. Joe, I hope you can stick around for a while because we will be talking CM Punk. Says that he is a CM Punk fan, always was and always will be. His hero, Roddy Piper, said that he was one of the best in the world, and that's enough for him. We're definitely going to be breaking down some stuff when it comes to CM Punk and taking a look at things in a little bit of a different aspect
I'm
than
gonna
everyone
try to
else
be
kind of has
unbiased
been.
as possible with this.
Right. No, and I totally get that. And I think that that's a really good thing to be, as unbiased as we possibly can be when it comes to everything that we do here with Turnbuckle Studios. Lucratively, Christian Cage is set. Did you hear about this?
I heard rumblings about a new deal, but I didn't see what
Okay.
the details of the deal were.
Well, I don't think that those have really come out as of yet, but he is saying and claiming that he has re-signed with AEW to a big, fat contract. Tony Khan had actually thanked Christian Cage for the work he's done in the all-out post-show media scrum and stated that the former WWE star is probably doing some of the best wrestling of his career in AEW. Christian then turned his attention towards the media and said that some of them had doubted his abilities, and he revealed that he signed a new deal with AEW, stating that it is a long-term contract and that he is in things for the long haul. Other than that, we don't know exactly what anything is. We have no clue, but we do know that he has re-signed.
Yeah.
What do you think about him re-signing with AEW?
So I think this is actually a really good deal, a really good deal for Christian, because he does bring that experience to the company. His job right now there is to help out the younger guys, and right now he's doing the work with Luchasaurus. He did the work with Jungle Boy, did the work with Marco Stunt, who was when he was there as well. So that's why I would have him on the roster, because he does bring that experience to the younger guys.
Right, which I definitely think is a good idea. So I was not going to bring OMD on just yet. OMD, center yourself. I was trying to go into the private chat to get you to do that before we brought him on.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, we always want to make sure that we are in good looks when it comes to these programs here. Parrish, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. So yeah, Christian Cage. Okay, OMD. I don't know if you were able to hear this or not, but Christian Cage has actually re-signed with AEW in what he is calling a big fat contract and a long-term contract with AEW.
I had heard and briefly read something. It was a very lucrative deal, from what I understood, from what I read.
Yeah, that's what Tony Khan and Christian had both said.
It was just a little blurb that came up on social media. I'm excited. Good for him. Good for him.
I am too.
The guy deserves it.
Now, supposedly, from what I read too, this deal was also a way to try and entice Edge to come over as well.
I could see that.
I think that's a cool idea if they were to possibly make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Edge right now has another offer from the WWE on the table right now, but he hasn't signed anything yet.
No, nothing as of yet.
He has not, and they wouldn't accept his terms on a new deal. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with that.
Yeah, but this whole Christian thing, like I said, I think it's going to bring a lot of experience to the locker room, and he brings that more recent experience, so he kind of has an idea of where the wrestling business is going right now. And I'm not saying like older guys like Sting and Billy Gunn on the roster don't, but
right, because they do 100%. They do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, when you come up through the Attitude Era, through the Monday Night Wars, you've got Jericho as that wealth of knowledge as well. So it's great that they've got these locker room leaders, and hopefully these younger guys are going to actually listen to them.
We can only hope. I mean, 100%, we can only hope that these guys are going to take that as a sign of, someone trying to help them, as opposed to, it's just another WWE guy coming in, taking our spot type of situation. Right.
Absolutely.
To make it in the world of professional wrestling, you need to understand that you have to get the knowledge from all of these different people, even the older guys in the business, even though the business itself has changed drastically over the years. We still need to make sure that we are respecting and learning from those older stars as well. Chris Parrish
Absolutely.
is saying Edge's legacy to me is soured if he leaves. I respect his decision. It's his life. But did he really help the young guys in WWE as much as he said he wanted to? I don't think that he really did. Also, OMD, Edge never gave an offer to the WWE. He debunked that rumor and then said he has an extension in his inbox that he is unknowingly going to sign.
Okay.
It felt like towards the end of his current his past deal there that he was with the stuff with Grayson Waller, and Grayson Waller's the only one I can think of right now.
Yeah,
to Parrish's point.
Yeah, when he came back, it was really to work with all of the older talent. Maybe it was to show the young guys that way with another experienced veteran when he did his thing with AJ Styles. Maybe that was the start of with Judgment Day with Damian Priest and Rhea, to start unleashing them and get them to the main event potential.
Damian Priest too. I forgot he did help him out, and Finn Balor, because Finn Balor was kind of floundering a little bit there before everything happened there.
Yep.
Right, but I mean, at the same token, right? You got guys like Finn Balor and like Damian Priest, who have almost solidified themselves as stars, on the independent scene before making their way to the WWE. And is it really helping younger stars then if we're getting, the rub from Edge for these guys who really have been in the WWE for quite a while already after their time in the independents?
Right, because, I mean, when you look at a guy like Damian Priest, who went to NXT under William Regal and later Shawn Michaels, with, of course, Matt Bloom.
Parrish, you're right. Not exactly young talent. Let's just say more new talent in that aspect.
For those on audio, Chris Parrish is saying DP and FB, so that's Damian Priest and Finn Balor, not Facebook and Dr. Pepper, are in their 40s, not young talents.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, yeah, like that's a very good point. And Chris, you're right. Maybe not so much young talent, but how do you put that now? New talent. Okay. But then again, I pose the question, are they really considered new talent?
Yeah, I thought of that too, because Finn was on the roster about 6 years before Edge came into the picture. So
right. So Edge really doing anything to help the younger?
In Finn's case,
coming
then
back?
yeah, in Finn's case, that might have been more helping to develop his character.
Okay, so that might be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Edge was maybe there to help character development.
Right. Who knows? Maybe Edge was helping out behind the scenes, helping produce some matches and learning that role.
Well, I know some of the guys have actually, because Edge just said this himself, but some of the guys had come up to him and, nitpicked his brain, as we all did in the independent circuit, nitpicked every older wrestler that came through our locker rooms that we were in. I mean, I can't count how many times I've pricked Chris Thorne's head a few times on ideas,
Right. Oh, yes. All right. So there we go. Christian Cage continues to be with AEW. Good for him. He signed a contract, a long-term contract, and we're gonna be getting Christian for a little bit longer.
And I hope that in this contract, let's say he decides to retire during the contract, I hope that there's a clause in there that allows him to become a producer or of some sort.
Yep.
I hope so as well. I think that would be a really cool thing for him to be able to do. I mean, whether it's a producer or a trainer or something in the back, still really helping out the younger guys, I think would be a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to continue our talk with another fellow Canadian. This one here, we're going to talk about Lance Storm and his wrestling school. So just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of, a backstory where it says it was such a giant task to get it started. Getting insurance is a gigantic hurdle. Even just getting a ring was a lot of work. I don't know if I have the desire to do that much work again. And I stopped doing it primarily because I am a hands-on teacher. So for those of you that don't know, Lance Storm had his own wrestling school where a lot of great talent came out of there, like Tyler Breeze, Taya Valkyrie, Chelsea Green, Peyton Royce. However, Lance Storm had to make the decision to close his wrestling school back in 2019. And now, recently, in an interview with Chris Van Vliet, he says he does not see it coming back. OMD, I want to get your take on this first off. What do you think about Lance Storm deciding not to reopen his professional wrestling school?
As disappointing as it is, I got to say good for him. It is time. Maybe it's his time. Maybe he feels it's time to move on, do other things with his life, be a grandparent, maybe. And if getting insurance, getting a ring is as hard as it is, as we've all tried to get one.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Good for him. Maybe move on. Or if he really wants to teach, go apply at another school and say, look, I'm Lance Storm. This is my career.
Right.
And benefit the industry that way.
Mm-hmm. So I know in 2019, when he closed, then the intention for him was he was going to start doing part-time training at the PC, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember why he opened the school I remember why he left the WWE in 2005. And that was because he wanted to open the school. He wanted to move into training, and he was done with the in-ring competition.
Right.
So this kind of hurts, really, because he became the new Dungeon, as it were, out there in Calgary training. I mean, Bruce and Keith run their version of the Dungeon, but it really isn't as prominent as the Dungeon once was. But with Lance doing it, JJ's got me. You cracked me, man. But with Lance doing the training he did, and I've seen some of the training videos he's put out, just
Right.
he such a fantastic trainer. So this sucks that he's decided to close it down.
Yeah. But as he said, he's a hands-on trainer, and if he can't do it physically anymore either,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
he's got to
understandable
take
at that point.
his physical health and his well-being into consideration.
And as you
And
said,
that's exactly what he's done here.
Yeah. And as you said, it is stressful getting the equipment, getting the building, the insurance, and then there's finding the class of wrestlers who want to train.
Right. Right. So with that hands-on, he says that, you know, he's really good at protecting himself, and that while training, you know, he's going to make sure that you're doing it right. So he's going to have you do the move, whether it's a DDT or a suplex or anything like that, on him first. And if you don't hurt him and he feels like you're competent enough, then you can do it to the rest of the students. He also admitted that having a match with every student he taught has taken a physical toll on his body, even more so than his own in-ring career. Although he does relish producing and teaching, which is something that he still gets to do in his current role as a producer with Impact Wrestling. Thank you to Insight with Chris Van Vliet for the quotes that we have got here, and for Wrestling Inc. for the transcription. It says, so I suspect I will always stay with Impact, or I suspect I will stay with Impact for an extended period of time because I love the atmosphere and the talent there and very much enjoy the schedule. So he is still doing work with Impact Wrestling, and he's loving it.
Good.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the wrestling business, is there is no shortage of work, really. If you can't do it in the ring, be a referee. If you don't want to be a referee, be a producer. If you can't be a producer, work in television, you know?
Right?
Yep.
There's a little something for everyone in the wrestling business.
Look at us. None of us can no longer go, and we're giving back to the business by doing this.
Yep.
Exactly. You know, and there's another guy out there that really gives back to a lot of different companies, considering this person is, you know, technically a free agent, and soon is going to be making a debut with yet another company, that company being Major League Wrestling. But we are talking about Murder Grandpa himself, Minoru Suzuki. It has been announced that he is going to make his MLW debut October 14th at MLW Slaughterhouse at the former ECW Arena, now known as the 2300 Arena. Guys, from somebody who has been all over the world, what do you guys think of MLW bringing in Minoru Suzuki?
What a steal for MLW, by the way. And at the 2300 arena, where he's going to get a huge pop, it's going to be insane when that happens. I am looking forward to this show just because Minoru Suzuki is going to be on it.
Right?
Yeah. No, good on MLW. Good on Minoru for, you know, doing everything he's been doing in America for the last 2.5 years between Forbidden Door. He did at least one of, if not both, of the Impact versus New Japan Pro shows this year.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, the last one was just at the 2300.
Yep.
So good on him for trying to get himself exposed to our culture. We all know him as the King of Pancrase. So good on him.
I kind of know him as the headbutting maniac in New Japan.
I hope it's a success for both parties.
Right. And I'm sure it will be. I definitely think that it will be. JJ, I saw your comment there. Wait till you hear the new the Pope's point of view with a former WWE diva. I definitely want you to send that over to me in Messenger when it is out and available. I would love to take a listen to that. Please let me know. Minoru Suzuki, former leader of Suzuki Gun. Suzuki disbanded the faction and is now part of the fearsome trio known as Strong Style, which also includes El Desperado and Ren Narita. They came together earlier this year, soon after winning the Never Openweight six-man tag team championships at New Japan's New Beginning in Osaka, Japan. They would lose them to Chaos.
Yeah.
At Wrestling Dontaku in May. Suzuki is a free agent and is able to go absolutely anywhere he wants. Going and working with AEW, as mentioned, with John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, to, being part of New Japan Professional Wrestling, still accompanying, this year's G1 Climax, going through and helping out with all of that. He's not competed in that tournament since 2020, but he recently wrestled on the tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, amazing and so good for him. I think that this will be a good thing for MLW, especially considering all of the still legal issues that are going on between, MLW and the WWE with different lawsuits that are going on. We can maybe take a look and discuss that a little bit again. We did discuss it a little bit. When things kind of finalize, maybe we can discuss it a little bit more. But as of right now, things are still going through the courts for all of that. But I think that this would be a fantastic boost for MLW having Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah. So you mentioned Minoru being a free agent and going wherever he wants, and it clicked in my brain. How fucking cool would it be if he showed up in WWE and took on Gunther?
That would be fantastic, but I'm going to go a little bit one more. And again, this has to go with WWE. Make him a mystery partner in War Games.
Oh, he would be insane in that match.
But again, they have the PG, so he wouldn't be able to get away with half of what he does anywhere else.
But him and Gunther would still put on one, and they would just beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, that would be a chop shop match.
Yeah.
Would definitely put on a clinic for sure. We want to talk a little bit about our good friends with Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy has some amazing products that allow you to have some good energy inside of you. Gorgeous energy drinks with zero sugar, vegan free. Everything is super good with these things. And you know what? Here's a little bit of what is offered from Rogue. So many different amazing flavors for you to try. So many different combinations of purchases that you can do over there as well. And while you are over there making a purchase, make sure you use our promo code OLEPODS, which is going to get you 10% off your entire purchase. Not just your first time, but every single time that you make a purchase with RogueEnergy.com.
Yep. And you want Rogue Energy, not this bullshit.
Get that joker out of here.
I won that at Circle K. I'd never buy that stuff. So free drink is a free drink, you know?
True. We only got a couple topics left here tonight. Our main one is a real doozy that should take up quite a bit of time. So this one here, I'm going to just spend a little bit of time on because, well, he's one of my favorites and somebody that I've had the pleasure of actually interviewing. And I am talking about one of my friends, good old Nick Aldis. He says that he is keeping his options open, but I do have a little bit that I want to talk about before we get to that. You know, we had rumors going around for months about Nick Aldis being hired as a producer, and he hasn't exactly committed to it full time right now. He's kind of using this as an introduction to the WWE for himself. They invited him to come out and see how everything works and shadow as a producer and see, just sort of, part of meetings and overseeing, everything as a whole, the whole television operation. To which he says, again, I've done a lot. I've worn a lot of hats, so I certainly don't feel like it's completely new, sort of like a completely new sort of situation for him. And he's using all of this as just kind of a testing grounds to see if this is something that he actually wants to pursue and continue to do.
Right.
He also says that he was blown away by the sheer size of the operation of the WWE. He said that there's pro wrestling and then there's the WWE. So, just taking in the sheer sort of volume of the operation and the number of people involved, the scale of everything, is that just alone has been the basis of his time so far. So simply is saying that he is just kind of trying to take it all in because this is definitely something larger than what he has been a part of before. So we do know that he is working on a handshake agreement, essentially, to see if this is something that he likes. OMD, what are your thoughts on this?
Good for him. I'm glad he is taking his time. He's admitted that, it's overwhelming. He's probably going through a lot of sensory overload.
Yeah.
Due to, we know him from Impact and NWA.
Right.
So you're going from these relatively small companies where you probably, as a competitor, you've got more pull backstage, maybe a little more influence on your match, not so much the outcome. Whereas now you're trying to learn everything that goes into a match, everything that's going into TV, trying to sit in on these meetings. So the fact that he's working on a handshake agreement to see if he wants to do it, good for him.
Chris?
Yeah, this is I'm kind of likening this to when you first go to the pool. You don't necessarily dive right in. You dip your toe in first to check the temperature, as it were.
Right.
So I was thinking about like how he said he was soaking it all in and how this feels grander, a little bit bigger and different. Couldn't he have sort of experienced that through Mickey James telling him stories? But I guess telling and seeing are two different things, right?
Right. And I don't believe that Mickey would even know about kind of the backstage, the producing, what goes into all of that, right? Because Nick has been taken to absolutely everywhere when it comes to the backstage role. He's
Yeah.
been taken to production. He's been taken to the trucks. He's been taken to Gorilla. He's been taken to meetings. He's been taken to catering. He's been taken every single step of the way to know and see. And he has said that, like the WWE is being, very patient with him to see if this is a good fit for both of them. And I think that that might be a byproduct of the new era that we're in. I
Yeah.
think we may see a lot more of that happening, and I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. I
And
think it's
I'm still glad that he's, considering this producer position, because he is coming down to the tail end of his in-ring. We all know that there's only maybe a handful of years left that he can do. So this is another form of giving back to the business.
Yep. Now, you see, we can all sit here and say that he's coming to the tail end. He's only got a few years left. He sat there and said, no, he is just hitting his prime. And so, maybe this is something that will lead to him getting back in the ring, which I know Chris Best would absolutely love.
Yep, because I want him at the Rumble. I wanted him at the Rumble this year.
But
yeah.
But then it also gives him that fallback option in case he gets injured, a la Jason Jordan, or an Edge, a Sting, a Bryan Danielson,
Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, anything like that.
So I will give just a little bit more here for you guys as well, and see if positions change on everything. I want to say thank you to Billy Donnelly, a good friend over at Wrestling Inc., for this article that I'm taking this information from. So, in Aldis's estimation, the timing may wind up being off, as he hasn't given up on the idea of competing as an in-ring wrestler. But given the schedule of the WWE, even as a backstage producer, it would likely mark the end of his career as a full-time performer. He has recently wrestled for both the NWA and Impact Wrestling. He isn't sure about calling it quits just yet, saying, may as well say it. Obviously, I would love the other thing. But until that day comes, or doesn't, I'm going to explore other opportunities, he confessed. But ultimately, this is absolutely something that I would want to do. In the end, it's, the question will be, I guess, whether or not I'm ready to do it now.
Yeah.
And we don't know that yet.
Yeah, he's looking at his options for things that he can do outside of the wrestling or outside of wrestling, but still within the confines of the wrestling business.
Right.
So if he does become a producer, I 100% can still see him coming out and doing a match on Raw here and there, Raw match on SmackDown, PLE, whatever,
Yep. As long as they don't give him a backstage interviewer role, although he would probably excel well, but he would probably, I don't know, I think he'd probably get more invested to being a character in doing that, as opposed to taking it as just, now I'm Nick Aldis backstage.
Yeah.
Here's how I would like to see things go down. Please allow Nick Aldis to be an on-screen personality on SmackDown.
Okay.
Allow Adam Pearce to continue what he does on Monday Night Raw, and at some point we have Raw versus SmackDown with Nick Aldis getting back into the ring and Adam Pearce as his opponent.
I'm still clamoring for that day that we see Adam Pearce get back in the ring, even if it's just for a quick little like fucking 5-minute spot in the Royal Rumble. I'd be happy, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And there's no reason why we couldn't do some sort of Survivor Series matchup, right? Like next year's Survivor Series. Why couldn't we have Captain Aldis? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely fantastic. Captain Aldis and Captain Pierce, with the two of them mixing it up inside of that ring for 5 minutes. That's all we would need is 5 minutes. And they would do more in that 5 minutes than most competitors can do in half an hour.
Yep.
Just saying.
Agreed.
Yep. 100%.
We are going to make our way now to our large topic of the night. We've got about 25-ish minutes to go over this. And if you guys didn't see at the very beginning, well, here it is right now. You just got punked. Yes, we are talking about the recent firing of CM Punk from AEW. Nick Khan, Tony Khan, not Nick, Shad Khan, and Tony Khan coming to the decision with the rest of management and letting go of CM Punk. Guys, this is the time to discuss Chris Best. I know you have a lot to talk about with this one, so I want you to take this for us.
So we all know that he got fired because of his toxicity in the locker room. That's what my girlfriend called it when I was telling her the stories we're covering today. And I saw this coming back when he fought with the Young Bucks. I knew it was coming. I knew he was going to be trouble if they brought him back.
Right.
Should have happened back then when he fought Omega and the Young Bucks in the locker room. But this isn't the only time that Punk has created a toxic atmosphere around himself in the locker room. He did that in WWE when he left. He did that in TNA when he left. The only company he didn't do it was ROH.
Right.
Sorry, Chris, I am going to completely disagree with that. I believe he did create that toxic environment when he had to do, as he's done in every company he's been in, his Summer of Punk and doesn't get his way. He will create that environment so that he can go on to make more money and spread his cancer. So, I mean, I've got 2 words for it. Good riddance.
Yeah, but when he left ROH, he actually did it the right way. He handed in his notice saying, okay, I'm not renewing my contract. I've got this deal with WWE. Let's have a send-off. That's how he left ROH. When he left TNA, he was fired from there. When he left WWE, he was fired from there. And when he left AEW, he was fired from there.
Yeah. But he wasn't even in TNA very long.
Yeah.
And it was
But
more
he still left in a very toxic manner.
And it was more of a per appearance type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, good on AEW. I'm glad that I agree with you. This should have happened a year ago. But you also, like, Tony Khan had to look at it from the business standpoint and said, this is ratings, this is a draw, this is merchandise revenue, this is ratings revenue, all of that. He gave Punk his own show so that he could keep them separated. But again, Punk just goes into business for himself, and good riddance to him.
Let's look at all the toxic interviews he's also given outside of the ring too.
Right?
Yeah, the one that comes to mind, and I know that the interviewer himself is a bit toxic too, but the one with Michael Landsberg, that was a really toxic interview.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely, it was.
Yeah.
So both of you really believe that this is the best thing for AEW is to have CM
Yes.
Punk gone.
Absolutely. I think it is the best thing for wrestling in general. I'm sure we've all seen the reports and the rumors that have been floating around now since Friday afternoon about him showing up in various other companies, and all I can say is, I hope not.
Yeah, there's already been
Okay.
reports that WWE is open to working with a deal with him, but one Mr. Tom Collahue already shut that down.
There's also rumors that he was open to going back to WWE late last year for the Rumble.
Yeah, and Tom
Right.
Collahue also shut that down too.
So I saw a meme today that said Impact is excited for the debut of CM Punk, and I would absolutely hope that Anthem is not going to debut CM Punk.
Yeah.
So you think that CM Punk has no place anywhere anymore?
No. No, I think he needs to just disappear and go fade off into the sunset for another 7 years.
So there's the possibility that CM Punk could come back 7 years down the road, is what you're saying.
I really, again, I hope not, but I mean, it happened 2 years ago. So who's to say he doesn't come back at 55 and say, I want to hit a go to sleep on Silas Young at an independent show?
So is there anything good that we can talk about with CM Punk?
His in-ring and his promos were actually decent. I'm not going to lie there.
Okay.
And I really wish that we've talked, because we already talked about giving back to the business, because of the way he cut promos and the way he wrestled in the ring. I really wish that he was able to give back to the business in that sense. And I want to preface this too by saying that, like, the whole thing with Jack Perry, he was actually kind of right on that situation, because that was the whole banning glass hits, because he was at that time showing care for the safety of Jack Perry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, but both were at fault.
Agreed. Both were at fault, and Jack Perry is still facing his suspension, as Tony Khan said.
But we have not heard anything on social media from Jack Perry in regards to this. He's keeping his mouth shut.
Punk won't be keeping his mouth shut.
Where Punk apparently found out about his suspension through social media. He apparently wasn't told anything. Not only did whatever happened with him and Jack Perry actually happen, if your boss feels his safety is threatened,
because
in your presence.
Yeah, because apparently he got into it with Tony Khan right after.
Yeah. And I mean, there are other reports that, there was supposed to be a sit-down meeting with the Elite to smooth things over that got canceled.
Yeah.
And who knows? We're not there.
They were going to, the Elite were going to sit with Punk, and they were going to try to bury the hatchet.
No, it was that the Elite called it off.
Oh. Well, that was the intention. They were looking to bury the hatchet, I guess. But there's going to be a ton of lawsuits from Punk's camp that's coming out of this. So we're not done with the Punk stories just yet.
No.
Right. But Chris Parrish coming in saying Punk has no job while Perry does. So why does Punk have to say unspoken? He doesn't have anything else to lose while Perry does. If Jack Perry does say something.
This is
very good point. Very good point. Why is CM Punk staying quiet on this entire situation right now? Considering we're talking about how explosive CM Punk is and how he has been and how he has reacted, even we've seen it with our own eyes at the media scrum.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why is he being so silent now?
I feel like because it's already been said that there's going to be lawsuits coming out from this firing, his legal team is telling him to keep quiet.
Could very well be.
I have not seen Collision as of yet, but Chris Parrish is saying, after seeing the Bucks' behavior on Collision, I find them more of an issue, to be honest. Pure example of immaturity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have not seen it as of yet.
They came on Collision and they acted like a bunch of 5-year-olds in the kindergarten, or in kindergarten, laughing at the kid sitting on the chair. You know.
Okay. I did not see Collision yet. I did see, and I was actually very impressed on the weekend because they teamed up with two of CM Punk's good friends in an 8-man tag at All Out in FTR.
Right.
And they didn't let that issue become a distraction in the match.
Right.
Neither team did.
Another voice, I kind of want to hear his side on it, because when the Perry Punk incident happened, Punk was on his way out to fight Samoa Joe. I kind of want to hear Samoa Joe's take on everything on this as well.
Absolutely. Because, yes, given the fact that Punk almost walked out of the company before that match.
Yeah, and Joe was stories are already coming out that Joe was pissed off about that.
Yep. But it was apparently also Joe that was able to help calm Punk down to go out and do the match.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
it's all hearsay
CM
right
Punk,
now.
Right. Yeah. Definitely, it's all hearsay
Yeah.
right now. But at the end of the day, CM Punk is a contracted professional wrestler to that company. And if he is going to be causing a disturbance inside of the workplace, then yes, this was probably the right decision to get rid of CM Punk.
I'm also sorry.
But if there is a situation where Tony Khan allows him back again, I think we're going to have an uprising. There's going to be a little bit of a war that happens, and I'm not talking a war between companies. I'm talking a war with the fans who will not want to see that. Although for myself, I would love to see it. Chris is saying also ran outside the ring, raising their hands in front of the Chicago crowd, acting like they won. Classless, in my opinion. Also, there's an ongoing lawsuit, so that is pending. So no one from AEW will be saying anything. Yes, and that's Chris Best. You had alluded to that, to lawsuits going to be happening. OMD, you talked a little bit about that as well. So yeah, both of you really coming in with the good shit here for us on this edition.
Yeah. So I want to bunk off. I just want to quickly bunk off what you said, Karl. Yeah. If Tony Khan were to bring Punk back, you said a war with the fans. I also see a mass exodus of stars.
There goes my friendly neighborhood motorcycle.
There's the mass exodus right there.
What the other thing I'm going to suggest is, and again, this is speculation, is I wonder if when bringing CM Punk back this year, if there was a clause that Tony then put into his contract stating, if you go into business for yourself, if any of this type of bullshit happens again, you're done. And the fact that this went to a committee, the fact that this went to an external investigation, all of that, then I hope, and I do hope that's the case.
Yeah, and already I can tell you the stars that would leave. I can see Jack Perry would leave. Cole Cabana would be on it, would leave. Christopher Daniels would leave. The Young Bucks would leave, and Kenny Omega would all leave, and Hangman Page. And that is a huge dent in your roster if Punk were to come back.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, I side kind of a little bit with, you know, with my friend Joe. You know, it says that he likes CM Punk and he always will and always has. There is a time where Rowdy Roddy Piper did say that CM Punk is the best in the world. And with that, I think sometimes there are people who can become better than the best in the world, or that title can be lost due to actions that you have done. Whether or not that situation has happened here, I can't fully say because I wasn't there. I have no idea. I'm only going by what other journalists and news reporters are putting out there. Chris, you know, Parrish making a very good point there, saying they can't leave under contract.
I mean, like once their contracts are up, they're out. If that were to happen. And I'm going to preface this too. The difference between Punk and Piper, because I've worked with Piper. Piper is modest. He was humble. He didn't really care about himself. And I get that vibe, the opposite vibe with Punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I truly believe I'm actually with you, Chris, in saying that you would see the Elite leave. They would probably demand their releases, or they would try and create that uprising within the locker room and create the mass exodus if it means they get blackballed.
Karl, you got something on your mind there.
Yes, and I'm glad that somebody has finally brought this up. Because what if this is exactly what has happened? What if CM Punk is in the innocence here and that fabrication has come into play where some of these other stars who were not fans of CM Punk have created these situations that have now resulted in CM Punk being fired from AEW All Elite Wrestling? What if?
I guess that's where we're going to have to pay attention to the courts and what they say, because you know that they're going to bring in witnesses and everything like that to get the story sorted out, you know?
Yeah. Because yes, it's a very divided locker room. The fans are divided because he is such a polarizing figure in the industry. So that is a very, very valid question that, you know, is there one more wrestler against CM Punk in that locker room? Or is it a divided, dead down the middle, 50-50, and you're getting the one side stating all these negatives and blowing them out of proportion? Maybe there was an incident. Maybe it should not have been as blown out of proportion as it was.
That's
exactly like
what
the
I'm
incident
saying.
with Regal, like that to me, like, yeah, he called Regal a stooge for Triple H, but that to me was just the media kind of trying to dig up more dirt on Punk.
Yeah.
Right. So CM Punk comes back to AEW after the whole meltdown situation that happened during the media scrum. He's essentially given top prize on a show, given the show, made the star and the face of that show. How much jealousy would have been there that could have caused all of this bullshit for CM Punk?
You know what?
That's where my thoughts are right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a great question, but the fact is if you're going to do that and do a soft split, right, and give CM Punk and his boys and his crew their show, and you've got still what would be considered the main show or the A show because it's been around a lot longer than 2.5 months, what's there to be upset about? He's not coming to your territory. You don't have to go to his. You just have to deal with each other and tolerate each other at a pay-per-view.
Maybe somebody else wanted that spot. Maybe somebody else feels deserving to be that face and that number one guy and be the top of that show.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's kind of like being in the cashier's line waiting to pay for your products. Then some idiot comes up in front of you with about 200 items. Meanwhile, you've got like 3 or 4. Some idiot comes in front of you with 200 items, and cashes out before you.
Yeah,
and you've been in that line longer.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Hey, you know what? It makes for a really good discussion, and I'm glad that you guys were able to be here to discuss this with me. And for all of you that are watching and listening, leave your comments for us as well when it comes to CM Punk. You can do so at the socials that you see ticking down below. It's our local establishment on a number of different platforms from Kick, TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube. We are all over the place with our local establishment. We're going to make our way out here, though. Before we do, I want to make sure that you guys have your chance to talk about where people can find you and what you have doing. OMD, let's start with you.
You can catch me right here every Monday night on OLE with the Raw Watch Along with these two fine gentlemen above me on the screen, as well as Mr. Chris Parrish. You can catch me every other Tuesday or occasionally on Tuesdays right here on Turnbuckle Talk again with these two fine gentlemen. And on Thursdays at 8:05 or 8 o'clock, on the Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke. As well, you can find me on my socials on Facebook and on Snapchat and now on Twitch.
Perfect. And for the people who are listening to this in audio format, where can they find you on Facebook and Twitch and their places?
They can find me under my regular name, Dan Horisek, on Snapchat under One Man Dynamic, capitals on OMD, and on Twitch at OMD17.
Mr. Chris Best, my wonderful new co-host. I am so thankful that you have been here with me. Where can the people find you?
All right, you can find me at youtube.com at ChrisDamage83, Twitch TV, CBRS_entertainment, threads.net at CBestFilms83, Facebook.com, Chris.best83, and you can find me on TikTok at CBRS.entertainment. You can also find me here on OLE Podcast and Turnbuckle Studios doing the Raw Watch Along on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Turnbuckle Talk every Tuesday, 8:05 Eastern as well.
And before we get to mine, I do want to get to these the comments here from Chris Parrish, who says, I thought I concluded to why there were differences with Punk and Khan last night with the pro-Pepsi and pro-Coke. It's a war between the brands, but you can catch me outside. How about that? LOL. Definitely. Really easy for everyone to follow me on my socials. You can check me out at Linktree, linktr.ee/Karl Karufel. Once again, that is linktr.ee/KARLKARUFEL. I want to give a huge shout out to our good friends at realwrestling.net. News and views by real fans. Yes, Turnbuckle Talk is international, baby, as we are welcomed by realwrestling.net. Thank you to all of them over there for the amazing stuff that they continue to do for us. and you see that I'm wearing my amazing Collar and Elbow branded hats, make sure you're checking out collarandelbowbrand.com. Yes, founded by my good friend Al Snow. Yes, that Al Snow. Yes, the one that had head. Yes, Al Snow created collarandelbowbrand.com. Go and check them out and use our promo code JK Podcast and get yourself 10% off your entire purchase every single time you are visiting them.
You mean the
You look
same
like you're
Al
ready
Snow
to
who
say
had a
something,
hardcore
Chris.
match with himself? The same Al
Hey?
Snow who had a hardcore match against himself, right?
Yep. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Parrish says he loves head. Yes. We only got a couple more here. I want to make sure that everybody knows that they can find some amazing Turnbuckle Studios merchandise, including Turnbuckle Talk merchandise, Beats and Beatdowns merchandise, Got the Pod Life, Paramindful. So many different things are available over there for you at karlkarufel.redbubble.com. Wow, so many different things, so many different places. I am so happy that each and every one of you have been here for this. The mannequin is very cool as well. With that being said, we are going to make our leave. This has been Turnbuckle Talk, episode number 337. You just got punked. Remember, everyone, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.